Hello guys, this is Bear. I just watched Apple's WWDC 2020 a few minutes ago. So this video is going to share of some of my takeaways as a UX and UI designer. So yeah, let's start it. It is the first time that Apple did it without any live audience, which I think is very good because we can put all the attention on the feature and the content they are providing, not about some cool flash things that will draw away our attention as the designer and developers. So, a few takeaways that I got. The first one is less is more will become the main design problem we need to solve, because in the current stage, when everyone gets used to our smartphone full of different apps, we are just, as a user, lost our direction when we trying to use the apps. Sometimes we even cannot find the right apps we're going to use. So, which is why Apple launches the app library as a solution, and also they launched quite similar concepts as WeChat micro program, which they called Apple Clip. So with that concept, during the right context, user can use their iPhone to scan an Apple code, and it's typical, like quite similar as a QR code, so they can use the service during that scenario and then just leave it without download an app, which is a great concept because it was already validated by WeChat micro program. So I think that could be some good opportunity for developers, especially for some large, or how to say that, maybe small and medium size of the business would be very benefited from this feature. And also we can think it as a designer, we can think it as a design challenge. The challenge that people cannot find the app they are going to use, or they cannot find useful apps because there are endless apps. So how to solve it? So Apple have two options mentioned during this WWDC keynote. One is the app library, the other is Apple Clip. So probably we as a designer can have some more solutions later. And the other thing is seamless user experience. So before, I think a few years ago, maybe let's say 5 years ago, we are quite used to the concept that your devices is different from other. One device is different from the other, so the scenario, the context is totally different, and it's okay. It was okay that they are not collaborate with each other. But now, like, everyone get used to, or just so get used to the concept that if I use something on my laptop, I should pick it up right away when I use my smartphone or when I use my tablet. It should be like the experience should be like a seamless experience. But it's really hard for the brand without an ecosystem, but it will be very easy for Apple to doing that. And that's why a lot of people start to use Apple's products will find it's hard to run away from them. Me as a good example. And I think during this keynote, Apple mentioned that seamless user experience, such as the picture-in-picture when you use iPhone, and also like Siri will not interrupt with the whole layout screen to stop the app you're using. And also when there's a phone calling, when there's a call, and there will be not like a full screen interruption with the app you're using. So this is something that can really help us to improve the seamless user experience. And also, one of the big announcements during this keynote is that Apple is going to release their own silicon, their own chip. So that's, I think, it's a big move, but we can see it like in a few years later, the result will become obvious. But for now, I think it doesn't matter for our like normal users. Yeah. And the other thing it really makes me feel excited is about that Apple's macOS is going to available that for the users to use iOS apps in Mac OS system. So that could be like a big result, because that reveals another question, another problem, or another interesting topic. So laptop, tablet, and smartphone, now if they can all share the apps together, universal in all the platforms, which means the boundaries are really blurring. So it's like now it's just the size and the context and how to input or output the file that matters. But the other thing, like the equipment, like the device itself, doesn't matter. So that could lead us to a really interesting future, and really looking forward to see what's going to happen next. And from a designer's perspective, especially if you're doing some UI design, user interface design, there are some trends we can capture from this keynote. The first one is that we can see, because the performance of modern devices and technology are so good, which brings back something we cannot achieve in a few years ago. So now we can see a lot of gradient design and new neomorphism design is coming back. And also you can see a lot of soft shadows in different design, in some icons or the user interface. There's you can see some different depth and levels, which means that it could become a trend. It could become a trend in this year and the years coming. So I think if you're going to design some new product, probably can develop some time, invest some time in upskill your color palette and gradient theory. So that could be one thing I will personally focus on for a while. And also, the other thing is that typography should be simple and elegant as usual. And remember, less is more in this stage. So as a designer, no matter you're a web designer or UI designer, you should have some UX mindset, because you have to think from the customer, the user's point of view, and try to solve their problems. Yeah. And one thing for the last but not the least is the translation service. That's quite interesting, because I speak Chinese and English, and it's so exciting to see if you can speak Chinese and the English translation will happen lively, and also other languages are all available. So this is exciting. But at this stage, the world is really separated and departed from countries to countries. But the technology really help us. Like the technology help us can seamlessly translate all the things to each other. So I think the departure or the separation is just a temporary, and our goal, I think, is to get technology to help people connected, and if you can do that, you will have a lot of opportunity in the future. And for me, it's so exciting to see a lot of new feature and releases, and for the iOS and Mac developers. And as a designer, I think it's a good opportunity to learn something new and to catch the trend. Right, so that's my takeaway for WWDC, and hope you like it. If you have any comment, please leave it below, and if you haven't subscribed my video, please subscribe or hit a like button, so it will help me to improve and build and make better video in the future. Right, thanks for watching. See you in another one. Bye.